In the Monster Hunter franchise, there's one mechanic that we as hunters almost always do, and that's sharpening your weapon. It's something every Monster Hunter player has done at some point, especially early game, but what if it wasn't an option? I am Reaverjolt, and today, we're going to answer the question, is it possible to beat Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate without sharpening? Now before we get started, let's go over the rules. You cannot use whetstones or whetfish, obviously. Cannot use armor skills that affect sharpness like handicraft, razorsharp, bludgeoner, etc. Cannot use weapons that don't have sharpness like bows or bowguns, as using those would kill the purpose of the challenge. At this point, anything else goes. I do want to mention that I'm doing this challenge on an emulator, as obtaining a 3DS capture card is nearly impossible these days, and the game seems to slow down from time to time when emulated, so if the game looks like it's in slow motion at all, it's because 4 Ultimate is not the best for emulating. And for more confirmation, I have a legitimate copy of the game and a 2DS XL to play it on, but don't have a capture card to capture it with. So with that out of the way, let's get into the challenge. So for starters, we have to choose our weapon type. I decide to go with the Charge Blade because it has high enough yellow sharpness at the beginning, plus it's my main weapon. After selling every other weapon, we proceed to sell all of our whetstones for obvious reasons. I won't be mentioning the 1-star quests at all, as they were mostly boring tutorial quests. After bouncing off Conchus for a bit, we take on Celtis. He was pretty easy and I didn't lose much sharpness at all. He did manage to feint me though. I was a little too greedy. After coming back though, I managed to guard point and knock him out of the air to finish him. Before our next objective, I craft a Celtis Falls because at this point in the game, it has the highest defense that we can make use of. After that, we take on Velocidrome. So far, sharpness hasn't gone down much, and this one was a cakewalk. Now when we got to Yankaku, things got interesting. The hunt wasn't long, but my sharpness eventually went down to severe red sharpness. This resulted in bouncing off Kaku a bunch. I even had to pick off some of the Velociprey audience just to get my files charged, but after bouncing off a bunch of times, a super discharge did the job. We hunt to catch a Watcha in an urgent quest, and he wasn't very hard until we got to severe red sharpness, but after one bounce, he goes down. Then off to Hearth we go. When we arrive, I figure we need to upgrade our Charge Blade. However, we do lack the funds to do so, so we scrounge up some cash and upgrade. We go to my Mormacolite, slay a Celtis, and come back to upgrade it even further. This is as far as we can take it for now, but we'll come back to it later. Hunting Tetsukabra was surprisingly easy. Counterattacking him was easy with the Charge Blade. I'm not kidding when I say I took him out in 5 minutes. I guess the Charge Blade really was OP back in the day and I never noticed. Gendron was next, and other than taking more damage, this was easy. In fact, so easy that I forgot that this was a capture quest and failed. But after coming back, I was more careful this time. After that, we fight Ursula, which was pretty standard other than getting red sharpness towards the end of the fight. When we leave to the next island, we repel Gormagala. He wasn't very hard here, but he might be trouble later. We take on Kongalala, and he wasn't very hard other than poisoning me later in the Battle of Bouncing. After taking down this fartbag, our next target was Zamtrios, which was actually more trouble than he should have been. The problem was the green sharpness was bouncing off his arms, and even when I do good damage when he inflates himself, it wasn't enough for my sharpness to last. So I had to end this via subquest to come back later. So at this point we need to upgrade our weapon, as the next upgrade will have enough sharpness to last us the rest of low rank. But there's one item we need to upgrade the Charge Blade: Dragonite Ore. Now normally in order to get it, you have to access the volcano maps, but we can simply do a Zamite quest in the Frozen Seaway to gather a bunch of Dragonite and hopefully get the light crystals, as we need those as well. After a bit of mining, we get our upgrade. The next one will require high rank materials, so we'll deal with that later. We make our comeback on Zamtrios and it was smooth sailing. Najarala was pretty easy, as I only went down to yellow sharpness before taking him down. Then afterwards, we had to rescue the ace team from Gormagala. This wasn't a very hard quest, but in this quest, I had to deal with not only Gore, but a bunch of Velociprey and Congas, which were all easy, but the big problem was gradually losing sharpness the whole time. I was down to red sharpness just before I had to repel Gormagala in this escort mission. Hopefully we won't lose that much sharpness when we actually fight him. And speak of the devil, we start to fight him and we had a really strong start, until my sharpness went down to red. Then this fight became harder. I would bounce my blade in order to get the files charged to deal file damage. This was rough, but since we dealt a lot of damage already, it was limping in no time and was captured. Next was Gravios, and boy was this one difficult. Bouncing with green sharpness is never a good sign, and pretty soon I was in severe red sharpness. This was quite the undertaking, bouncing left and right on Gravios, but because of our file damage and some barrel bombs, we managed to win. On to Cathar we go. He was a bit annoying to deal with due to not giving me an opening to heal, plus bouncing off him was mildly annoying. We take on the Celtis Queen, and she wasn't hard for me considering I was at red sharpness. The only annoying part was dealing with her peasant. After that, we take on Rathalos, which was pretty standard, but I totally forgot that he flies around the nest and starts shooting fireballs from above while doing so. I assume they removed this to make his fights less telegraphed in future games? I don't know. Let me know in the comments if you happen to know why. Then we take on Zinogre, which actually wasn't that hard with my decreasing sharpness, but taking thunder tackles hurt a bit. It was just a matter of landing those super discharges. Next was a frenzied Tigrex. This one was pretty challenging as it had me blocking a lot, making my sharpness go down faster, but after landing a good amount of super discharges, he goes down. Then we face the final boss of low rank, Shigaru Magala. Not gonna lie, I was expecting this one to be smooth sailing, but I was so wrong. He was doing a lot of damage and made it difficult to heal, and even made me faint. On top of that, I went down to severe red sharpness in no time flat due to bouncing off his wing arms. I was bouncing a lot of the time to get my files charged to deal more damage, but after a 10-minute long duel, Shigaru falls. And we have proven that it is not over, and we still have a ways to go. Before we take on our next target, we go on a quest to do some mining first. We're in need of carbonite ore to upgrade our charge blade to one of my most memorable weapons, the Blackguard. With it now upgraded, we can now take on Daimyo Hermitar. He was tough to deal with because not only did we have low rank armor, but our sharpness went down so fast against him. That and we fainted. Twice. But after bouncing back and forth, he goes down from one of the palicos. How convenient. Our next objective is to get high rank armor. Our best bet until the next level quest is Tetsukabra's armor for now, so we start a hunt-a-thon. Now let me tell you, this is hard because of one thing. Hunting more than one monster in a quest causes us to lose sharpness even faster. So if we get down to severe red sharpness on the first monster, the next monster during a hunt-a-thon will be a massive pain. But thankfully it wasn't a pain. I forgot in hunt-a-thons monsters have less health. After doing that though, I looked at the skills for the armor and found the Sharpener Skill. In case you didn't know, this basically increases the speed at which you sharpen. Now I'm not sure if this breaks the rules at all, but even if it didn't, this skill would be rendered useless cause we can't sharpen anyway, so we'll need a different set of armor. Our next best option is Blue Yonkaku. While I was farming to get the armor, I needed to get some stout bones for one of the armor pieces, but in order to do that, we need to take on our next key target, Emerald Kongalala. He wasn't hard at all other than being farted on and fainted. After capturing him, we unlock a hunt-a-thon for high rank Ursula. I kinda wanna get that armor instead now. As I was farming Ursula, I pondered whether or not to keep going with the very limited resources I have. I was kind of rushing most of the game up to this point and didn't even have much in the line of healing items like mega potions. And I had little to no stakes for a majority of the game, so I'm having to take the only viable course of action, speech bubble quests. By doing speech bubble quests, we can unlock certain things that will make our lives easier. I almost forgot that the Arachnoscale Charge Blade will definitely be a replacement for our Blackguard as it has even higher sharpness and the sharpness gets even higher upon upgrading. This will definitely be a lifesaver. After a bit of grinding to get some toxin sacks, we now obtain the Arachnoscale. And then we grind to get the quality of life stuff as well as the high rank Ursula armor. Not sure how long we'll keep it considering there will be better armors later. We take on Cephalos next and he wasn't very hard. Then after that we take on an urgent quest involving a Manablos. He wasn't too difficult other than losing sharpness fairly quickly due to bouncing off the horn a bunch. Once we take him down, we then proceed to take down Kezu, Pink Rathian, and Celta's Queen. After failing to capture a Rathian due to a Seregios, we now have to hunt it, and let me tell you, this was harder than I thought it'd be. Not necessarily because my sharpness dropped to red, but because Seregios was doing a lot of damage. He even managed to feint me, and when my health was low later on, I retreated to another area to heal safely only to get paralyzed by a Cephalos and get killed immediately, causing a second feint. In all of my years of monster hunting, I've never had that happen before. But after coming back, we finally take down Seregios. If I didn't have my capture gear, I was sure to have failed this quest. As tempting as it is to get one of the Seregios weapons, we sadly can't as they have a skill that affects your sharpness, thus going against the rules of this challenge. However, what we can get is the Seregios armor set. By obtaining the Seregios armor, we can get the Mind's Eye skill. This does not go against the rules as the Mind's Eye doesn't affect sharpness. It just simply allows you to hit through anything without bouncing. The decreasing of sharpness stays the same regardless. The only thing we have to do now is farm Seregios for the armor, although that's not going to be easy seeing as how hard of a time we had dealing with the thing. And unfortunately, this is where I ran into a problem. I was making some adjustments to some settings in the emulator, and when I went to open the game, it crashed. This happened several times. I tried as best I could to fix this. I tried restarting my PC, I tried running it in Administrator, I even tried opening the game over and over again until it would properly load, but it still didn't work. I'm not sure how to fix this, guys. I really don't know. And we were doing so well, too. We were pretty much almost there. We just had to farm Seregios, get the Mind's Eye from the armor, and take on the rest of the game. And I'm certain that if this unfortunate turn of events didn't happen, we could have beaten the game. I was even gonna do a light goal for the G-rank version of this challenge. What makes this even worse is I don't think I'll be able to make future challenges for Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate as a result of this. I don't exactly want to write this off as impossible, and I have no doubts that it can be done. But unfortunately for me, and only me, it is not possible to beat Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate without sharpening. At least, not with an emulator. I certainly hope you guys enjoyed this regardless. I was having fun with this challenge, and hey, maybe I'll get to do it again in a different game in the franchise. One without having to use the Citra emulator preferably. If you guys have any challenge ideas that you'd like for me to attempt on this channel, let me know in the comments. The next challenge I do is a result of a like goal that was met in a certain video. And with that, thank you very much for watching. If you would like to see more challenges like these that hopefully don't crash and burn, consider liking the video. Consider subscribing and turning on the bell to keep up with my uploads. And consider following me on Twitter for extras and Twitch for my live streams. Be kind to one another and have a most wonderful day.